Cool. Vernon, you're on mute. Whenever you're ready to go, unmute and we can kick.
You guys hear me?
Yep, we got you. You hear
Yep.
me? Beautiful. Vernon, how you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. How are you?
All good. We'll give it 10 more seconds, then we can hop in. Good weekend? Hey, Vernon, you hear me?
Yeah, mine was pretty chill. How about yours?
Mine was good. I won't say it was chill. I had a bachelor party, and then when I got back from the bachelor party, I went into my 5-year-old daughter's birthday party. So not chill, but was awesome.
That's
no complaints.
not chill whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the opposite
Yeah.
of chill, but it was great. Cool, man. Well, let's hop right into it. We don't have a ton of time. This is going to be a short one, about 30 minutes or so, but wanted to, this is a cool instance where not only are you a professional athlete who no longer plays and had a great career, but you're also a part of the Vayner Sports family, working on the baseball side. So wanted to introduce you to the Vayner Sports Pass community here. Before we hop in, why don't you just give like a 2-minute intro on who you are to those that are listening?
All right, who I am. Like as you said, washed up baseball player. Let's see, I was drafted in 97, finished playing my last year was 2013. I was 10 with the Blue Jays, 10 years in the big leagues with the Blue Jays. Got drafted by them in 97, played 2 years with the Angels, sucked there, played my final year with the Yankees, started off really well and then sucked the rest of the year. So that was a blast. And now just a dad, which I love. In 2013, after that season, when I had an opportunity to either figure out if I wanted to continue playing or be a full-time dad and husband, finally, my wife actually said, "You can keep playing." And it was one of those things where I kind of knew, like, if I chose to keep playing, I could wind up in a ditch somewhere, because my wife is. I love her to death. She's Italian, and she could hurt me. So I chose being home, which was the greatest decision I ever made. So now I'm a dad, and obviously an agent now. And being an agent just allows me to share the ups and downs, what actually goes on in the lives of a baseball player who's trying to get to the big leagues and stay there. So that's where my knowledge comes into play. I love talking the game, love talking all kinds of things. So being a part of this Vayner family has been a blast. It's been educational on so many fronts. And this is just another area where I get to kind of absorb everything that goes on and learn from one of the best in you and your brother.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that. Good stuff. So we're going to hop in because, again, we don't have a ton of time. And so for those listening on Twitter Spaces here, 2 things I'll note. One, our Discord channel is the only place in which we're taking questions. And then 2, we do have a POAP today, and the secret word for that POAP will only be revealed in the AMA channel of our Discord. So wanted to flag that for anybody that's listening here on Twitter is not on our Discord. In order to access the VSP AMA channel, you need to verify that you're a holder of VSP. So let's jump into the first question. Here's a good one, and you and I have talked about this before. How was it being drafted 5th overall and feel pressure based on the high draft position?
No, like being an 18-year-old getting drafted that high. Once you get to the minor leagues, you're basically slumming it. You're the same as everyone else. Doesn't matter where you drafted. I was living with 7 guys who I'd never met before getting there. That wasn't the pressure of it. It was the adjustment side was the most difficult. Playing every day, understanding what that grind is on your body, and then once you get to understand that, then it's just going and playing baseball. And being the 5th pick in the draft, especially coming out of high school, you just get an opportunity to go do what you love and do it on an everyday basis, and you start to understand how hard it is to be a professional. And that was one of the things I remember most, and I loved about it because this is what you want. You need to go through this to get to where you want to, and that's get to the big leagues.
Awesome. Makes sense. I'm not going to lie. If I was picked 5th overall, I'd put a ton of pressure on myself, I think.
Well,
but that's me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is like you don't care at that point. Like, it happened. It's over with. You get your money, you put in the bank, and you go play baseball. And nobody cares once you're playing where you're drafted. You got to go and compete.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Talk about your time in Toronto. You spent your career there. How is that? Was that a culture shock? How did Toronto compare to other places? What was it like playing in a Canadian city when most of the rest of the league was in the States.
Yeah, it was different. It was if anybody who's been in Toronto spent some time at any type of game, there's some passionate fans there. And it's an East Coast team that in Canada, hockey comes first and everything else comes second. So there were times where we'd go on a hot streak and Yankees come in town and we take 3 out of 4 from the Yankees and we are basically 30 minutes into their sports center um, because all
Hmm.
the hockey, all the junior hockey, everything else came first. I mean, it's probably a little different now that the Blue Jays have had some successes of late. Um, but when you talk about passionate people and fans that will love you and hate you all at the same time, it's similar to New York. Maybe not as fully engaged as those fans are, but they love to hate you and love to love you. So it was fun for me. It's fun for me growing up in that atmosphere.
Piggybacking off that, somebody asked, what was it like? You spent the better part of your career going into the Bronx and being an opponent of the Yankees, and I'm sure you heard a lot of smack playing out in the outfield from the bleachers and everything. What was it like to then turn around and go to the Yankees and play as a home team member in the Bronx?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny. I was actually a Yankee fan from the time I played them the first time in AAA in '99. There was something just different about the pinstripes. There was something different about the aura around that organization, and you notice it even in AAA. And then getting to the big leagues and the teams that they had and the they had and just the tradition that goes along with that uniform, it was an absolute blast growing up in the East, playing in the East, going to New York and playing in old Yankee Stadium and just the Coliseum feel that it had to it. It was an event every night that we played there. And there's not too many venues where you can say that where you just remember walking into the stadium, walking through the tunnels and going out and just getting absolutely berated by everyone, which was so much fun. Like being in the field and those people in right field in the bleacher sections just calling you every name in the book, chanting full on asshole at me like all of them in unison. It's just like, what is going on? This is awesome. And telling me your mother's a Yankee fan, which she might have been, but I don't think she actually was. And then, and I'd give it back to them. And then it was so much fun. And at the end of it is, hey, we'll see you tomorrow, Vernon. I'm like, awesome, man. See you tomorrow. So, and then, yeah, then from that, getting a chance to put the uniform on and getting a roll call, it's that kind of just, that ended everything for me. That's all I needed.
Yeah, that's dope. I love that. All right, pivoting a little bit from the playing days, but kind of related. Um, can you highlight a moment as an agent that gave you, I don't think there's anything replacing playing the game and being there. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to jump in line. I'm going to ask you a question that I already know the answer to, but I want you to tell the story because it's such a great one and you deserve the moment to talk about it. But is there any moments as an agent that kind of stack up similarly to your playing days, just in terms of that thrill?
Yeah. I mean, and it's actually similar to my playing days too. You obviously love the moment, but you also live through the moments of the people around you, and you value those things even more than some of your own achievements. So for me, playing, there's some people ask me my favorite memories as a player, and I tell them memories that I have of other people doing things, not necessarily things that I did, except for hitting a walk off against Mariano. That's that's on its own shelf and its own category. But like with Jordan Lawler in the draft last year, and getting to see him grow from his junior year to his senior year to in the professional that he is now, those are the type of wins when you're working with just a great kid whose mom did an unbelievable job raising him, and to see his success. And those are my wins now, which I love.
That's awesome. So you already hinted to where I was going to go to next. That walk off against Mariano. Can you tell that story a little bit and give that context to everybody here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Mariano, everyone knows who followed the game. He was predominantly throwing one pitch for most of his career, and it was that cutter, and it could be devastating whenever he wanted it to be. Thankfully, I was a right hitter, and I didn't necessarily have a problem facing him. I knew how he wanted to attack me. He wanted to try to get me to chase outside, and there's several times in my career where yes, I would swing at pretty much anything and everything, especially stuff outside. But with him, I knew I just needed to look inside and force myself to swing once he started that cutter inside. He started adding a sinker later on, which you didn't want to swing at. He was throwing it on purpose to try to get you off his cutter in. So in that particular, coming up in the 10th, I believe, he started me off with a cutter away, and I think he went cutter in. And like I said, you have to force yourself because it's not normal where the pitch location is to swing with anyone else. And looking in, throws a cutter in. I put a swing on it, and I barreled it, but it went a little higher. So it was one of those situations where it's either going to get caught or it's going to go out. And it felt like it was in the air for at least 20 seconds. And I'm getting to first base, ball lands on the other side of the wall, and I floated around the bases. Like it was the only thought was I just hit a walk-off home run against the greatest closer of all time. And those are moments where just everything kind of just stops for a minute. You get to enjoy something truly special in the game. And it was a blast. Those are one of those moments that I'll remember forever. And just because, more so because of the respect I have for who Mo was and how he conducted himself as a professional and as a teammate. He set himself apart, and he was the best.
That's good stuff, man. I mean, that's for those listening, especially on the younger side, I feel like Mariano's cutter is probably the nastiest pitch in baseball history. At least has the best brand. So pretty epic that you hit a walk-off against it, man. Incredible. Here's a less serious question or important question, but we ask everybody that hops on, what is your favorite fast food joint? And noting that we do not accept Chipotle as an answer because we've decided as a group that that's fast casual. So what's your fast food joint, of choice?
It's Chick-fil-A. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Another one for Chick-fil-A.
being down south, it's Chick-fil-A, and if I need a burger, it's In-N-Out.
Okay, fair enough.
What about you?
How about me?
Yeah.
I'm going to abstain because I'm a good corporate man, and we have some fast food clients over at Vayner X. So I'm going to play it politically correct and abstain.
Smart man.
All right. Let's see. Back to more serious questions. Here's a good one. Any advice to a 17-year-old? So we'll make it more broad. Any advice to a young man or woman, maybe high school age, that wants to become a sports agent one day?
Yeah. You got to love what you do, love what you want to be a part of, whatever sport or marketing, whatever it might be. Love that space. Try to absorb as much information in that space as you can so you understand it going into it. And prepare yourself for everything. I think in anything we do in life, prepare yourself for what you want to get into, educate yourself as much as you can. Hopefully you can be blessed enough to be in a space that you thoroughly enjoy just soaking everything in. And then at that point, just go out and work your tail off. Being an agent it's one of those jobs where you're going to run into some people that aren't the most quality when it comes to the space, and you have to try to separate yourselves from them with the way that you treat people, with the way that you conduct your business, and that's something that just with Vayner, it's built different. It's built in a way where everyone is trustworthy. Everyone has the best interests of their clients, whether they're on the field or off the field or on a court or off the court, whatever it might be. It's the player first, and educating them on not just what's happening now, but what's going to come in the future, and preparing them for life after the game.
Awesome. Vern, we're going to take a quick break here. Stay here. Teddy, unmute yourself and walk everybody through the PO app. Let's do that now for a minute.
Awesome. Thank you, AJ. So yeah, quick commercial break for all those VSP holders listening in the VSP AMA channel. I just now dropped the secret word phrase in that channel for the PO apps. Remember, they are case sensitive, so be sure to do that when you're entering it on the PO app. For those non-VSP holders, we do these PO apps, or kind of these proof of attendance protocol badges, every single AMA almost every single AMA that we have. And just to share a little bit of alpha, some of those PO app holders will definitely have the ability to be rewarded for this coming week. So definitely want to be collecting those and stacking those. And the only way you can get those is by being in attendance, getting that secret word there.
Awesome. Thank you, Teddy.
Yeah, and don't share the secret word phrase, by the way, just as a disclaimer. This is for the VSP holders only.
Yeah, so Discord folks, keep your mouth shut. Cool. So to that point, going to piggyback off this kind of like an Easter egg, something pretty darn cool to reveal here. A little bit of alpha. This is breaking news within the Vayner Sports Pass world. Pretty fun stuff here. Actually, before I drop it, one, I like building up the anticipation a little bit. Two, JT, if you're free, I'm going to bring you up for a second. I just invited Justin Turner. He's in the audience, Vayner Sports legend. I don't know how free he is or he isn't, but I brought him on stage for a second. Give him an opportunity to jump on. He might be tied up. He might be multitasking. Let's see. But it's relevant that he hops on because part of the alpha that I want to share. All right, he's not coming up. I'm going to give him 5 more seconds. I'm guessing he's multitasking or busy. All right, he's stuck. So pretty cool thing that we're doing that I'm excited by. Vernon being a guest today. Oh, JT, you there? You're on mute, but you can unmute.
I'm here. What's up, AJ?
What's up? I'm sure you're busy. We won't keep you long. But it was relevant to bring you up quick because we're going to drop the alpha about what you, me, and Vernon are doing later today in a couple hours. Nothing major, but pretty fun. And I think, we've had a lot of people asking for more content. This is something exciting for us to do. Vayner Sports Pass is actually going to start production today on our own podcast. And we got JT as our first guest. So Vernon and I are going to be co-hosting a podcast. We're going to be covering the world of sports as well as the world of NFTs. And we're going to probably have typically one athlete and one NFT industry individual a part of it. Maybe sometimes just an athlete, maybe sometimes just NFT based. JT is multi-talented, so he can cover sports and NFTs if he chooses. But yeah, thought I'd bring JT up. Me, Vernon, and JT are hopping on and having a chat here in like the next hour or two or something like that. So, JT, you good, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I had to jump on here, and I love listening to Vernon's stories, so
Yeah, man.
I wanted to hear them, and it was great to hear the Mariano story. He's incredible. So that was really cool to hear. Thanks for sharing that, Vernon.
Oh, of course. JT, where are you guys?
We had Sunday night baseball in Atlanta last night, and we got into Denver about 3 a.m. And yeah, so I'm at breakfast in Denver right now.
Nice comeback
Awesome,
last night.
Yeah, that was a good one. We needed that one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, JT, we'll let you go. I know you're running on a little sleep and getting your fuel. I think we're all set for about 2 hours from now. So looking forward to chatting with you
All right,
then.
we'll see you soon.
All right, brother. Talk soon. Awesome. So yeah, appreciate all the love seeing in the Discord right now. And seeing some fun names. People are trying to guess the name of the pod. Hey, Teddy, why don't you go ahead and drop the album art for the podcast? It's a fun little piece of art that'll be the album cover for the podcast. We already have a name for it. I appreciate all the suggestions, but we got a name for it. We think it's pretty appropriate. So yeah, Teddy or Brandon or anybody that has it handy, go ahead and drop the album art in the AMA channel so folks can see it. People are excited, and I think Vernon and I are going to have a lot of fun talking up with Vayner Sport. It'll predominantly be Vayner Sports athletes, but if we ever get an athlete outside of the 4 sports that we're in, we may mix it up from here, from time to time, and I think we'll also dip into the bucket of retired athletes as well, which will be fun. So we're excited, and again, that's why I wanted you guys to hear a little bit from Vernon today, just because he will be my co-host. And there, Brandon just dropped it. If you're in the Discord, you can see the album art. Fun little caricature of the two of us, and yeah, we're excited. We've got a good plan set in place. We've already done a trial episode so that Vernon and I can work out the kinks. Discord is excited based on the number of emojis that are popping up on the album art, which is fun. And yeah, we're starting production today. We'll probably drop our first episode in the next week or two, and so you guys can stay tuned. But we're excited by it. Cool. Let's see. Let me see if I can find 1 or 2 more questions before we call it, Vern. Gonna dip back. All right, how about this one? Who's the most talented teammate you've ever played with?
Ooh, I
And
can't go.
if
Yeah.
if you need a couple, go ahead with 2 or 3.
Well, I think the obvious answer is Mike Trout. He's a freak, and he is someone who, from day one, once he figured it out in the big leagues, he would do something almost every night that you would think it's not possible for you to do anything better than that, and the next night he would do it. It's special. It's special what he's able to do on a baseball field, and it's unfortunate that, especially in baseball, when people talk about postseason and World Series rings, there's no one player that can win a World Series by himself. Like it's not like basketball where you can have one superstar and that person impact a 5-man team. It's almost what it is impossible for a baseball player to do that. I hope that they're able to build a team around him so he has a chance to do that, but it in no way diminishes what he's about. And then,
hey Vern,
as far as
what about when you were good?
when I was good, I like to think that I was a young, darker version of Mike Trout. I like to think that sometimes when I sleep in my dreams.
No, you misunderstood. I'm saying who was good when you were good? Because
Yes.
you told me you were washed by the time you and Trout played together.
Yes, not mentally though. Physically, I was washed. I thought I was still the same player, even though I was 30 whatever years old. When I was young, it's weird. Like obviously, I played with Roy Halladay, and
Yeah, of course.
he was a machine. And but if you someone off the radar that you don't really know about, and someone I actually played with was Alex Rios. He was this dude. I walked into the weight room and he starts to warm up. And I thought he was going to do bench. So he takes the 80-pound dumbbells and he gets on an incline and just starts hammering out curls for his first set of curls. I'm like, what is going on here? And he's one of those people that if he grabbed you and he's playing around, he would hurt you. And it would piss me off because I'm like, dude, let go of me. Like, you don't understand how strong you are. And he could run, he could throw, he could hit. And he was uber talented.
That's a really good one, man. Yeah, I mean, Trout and Roy, rest in peace, are good obvious ones and two clear ones. But I love you giving love to a guy that maybe not everybody remembers. But man, I remember Rios coming onto the scene, and by like year 3 or 4, he was messing around with. I don't think he ever did it. I'm looking now. He never did it, but he felt like a guy that could have done. Yeah, he never hit 30 homers. I guess he just didn't have the same pop you did, but he was close. And he did have
he was
like
close.
25 because he could run.
Yeah.
He had that. I remember he had a 40 steal year one year, and 30 once or twice. Like, yeah, he he could do it all type guy. So that's a great call out and a name I haven't thought of in 5+ years. That's a good one.
Yeah, but a fun fact about Alex. So I hit in front of Delgado for quite a few years, and our conversations about pitchers coming in, how do we want to attack them, like they were in depth. Like we both knew what a pitcher had, all those things. Like this is what I want to do. Awesome, let's execute our plan. Alex, on the other hand, right-handed pitchers coming out of the bullpen. I was like, Alex, trying to be the Delgado to him.
Right.
What do you look at here? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, do you know what he throws? He's like, I have no clue. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not prepared for this? He's like, what does he throw? I was like, well, fastball. He likes a slider. He's like, okay, go up there, homer. I'm like, what in the world? Like, you're not even prepared for this, and you just go deep, and then stuff like that would just piss me off. But it was awesome.
Yeah. So a little bit, obviously this person I'm about to bring up, and we can kind of close it here, but it sounds like he was somebody that just was pure talent, pure athleticism, pure hand-eye coordination, pure talent. While you and Carlos put in a little bit more of the film work. Reminds me of an anecdote. I don't even know if this is real or not, but I've heard it so many times that I feel like it's real. It's like I think it's a story of Ty Detmer explaining to Brett Favre what defense. Like Brett Favre didn't know what a nickel defensive package was when he was like an MVP. You know what I mean? And so kind of obviously Rios didn't have the career that Favre had, a little bit of a different level, but just go out there and just let the talent do the work kind of thing. Sounds like what Rios was doing when he was in the bigs.
Yeah, and there's arguments to be made that some guys overthink things.
Sure.
So there's two sides to it. If you're talented enough to just go out and dominate, awesome. Don't complicate things. But there's not too many of those guys that exist.
Agreed. Vern, awesome, brother. Appreciate jamming. This was just a quick little sample, one of our shorter ones, but the main intent was to introduce our community to you. They're going to hear a lot more from you. Like we said, we're starting the production on our podcast today. You and I are going to chop it up with Justin Turner in a couple hours here, and just appreciate everybody's support. Appreciate you, my friend, and looking forward. We're going to have a lot of fun with this pod.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Take care.